I know the 2025 World Series isn't over, but I just have a chance to talk now about baseball. And I'll be home, but I have some videos I want to do when I get home. So I'm just going to quickly go over who I think the 2026 Division winners are going to be for each league. In the NL East, I have it being the Miami Marlins. The Marlins took a huge step forward this year as they won 79 games. They were like 25-41 in late June, and they actually stormed back to reach 500 before they eventually fell below 500. They were still in contention to make the playoffs with like 5 days left in the season, even though it was unlikely. And this is a big improvement for their 61-win season. The Braves, at this point, I think they're too washed. I think their era of NL East dominance is over. The Nationals, everyone kind of thought that they'd be in position to contend in 2025 after they won 71 games in 2024 with a brand new core. And even though James Wood and C.J. Abrams still look promising, the pitching of the Nationals is too bad to contend, and I don't think that they're ready to really be serious contenders yet. The Mets had a historical late season collapse. Everything looked like it was going to go their way from June 2024 to June 2025, and then the wheels came off. And already the Mets are not having a good offseason so far. I don't think that they'll have a good offseason, to be honest. At this point, I think a lot of key players aren't going to want to come to the Mets because of how feeble they are. And as a result, I really can't see the Mets finishing 500. So that's unfortunate. And as for the Phillies, I just feel like after this playoff loss, they're going to have to disband their core. Bryce Harper might be leaving. Nick Castellanos is going to be leaving. I'm not so sure that they can lock up Kyle Schwarber long term. I get that they won 96 games in 2024 after they won, 2025, they won 95 games in 2024. I mean, Harrison Bader, they're probably going to let walk, and he was a big reason as to why the Phillies had it. If the Marlins take a step forward and the Phillies take a step back, the Phillies could still make the playoffs, but I have the Marlins winning the NL East and getting their first ever NL East title. This will leave the Colorado Rockies as the only team to not have a division title, but I don't see the Colorado Rockies getting their first division title because I don't see the Rockies winning the NL West because they suck right now, and I see it being the Dodgers. Every single time, a team has a chance to overtake the Dodgers, they just can't capitalize on it. The Padres never can. The D-backs had a chance in both 2023 and, honestly, 2024 to overtake the Dodgers and failed. The Giants have had their chances, and except for 2021, they failed. And with the core being as good as it is, I really can't see anyone overtaking the Dodgers for the NL West Division crown. Wrapping out the Central, and this is honestly an interesting case. It's so tough because for the past 2 years, everyone was saying that the Cubs were going to win a division, but in reality, it was the Brewers. I don't know at this point. In theory, the Cubs are a better team than the Brewers, who don't have a good payroll, but the Brewers can just moneyball into the playoffs. They'll always choke in the playoffs, but they are very good at winning the NL Central. The Cubs, however, had 83 wins in both 2023 and 2024. 2025, they took a big step forward by winning 92 games and getting a top wild card spot, winning the wild card series in 3 games before losing to the Brewers in the NLDS in 5 games. So if the Cubs can continue to take these big steps forward, we're not sure what PCA really is at this point after he had a great first half, but abysmal second half. He's good defensively, at least. Not sure if they're going to be able to land Kyle Tucker or not in the offseason. The Cubs, I feel like, could overtake the Brewers, but the Brewers have to actually, the Brewers have to decline a little bit too, because 92 wins in a lot of cases would be enough to win a division. It just wasn't in this case, and I'm not so sure what we're going to see with the Milwaukee Brewers, but at this point, I'm not betting against the Brewers. I got the Brewers winning the division. As for the other teams, the Pirates, I don't think until they commit to spending, are going to have a chance at the division title. Cincinnati Reds had a good run to the playoffs, but it was only because the Mets collapse was so bad. They went 48-45. from June 13th, when their record, by the way, was only 35-34, they finished with 83 wins. If they don't make some serious improvements, which they don't think they're going to because of their low payroll, then they're not going to make it back to the playoffs. 2025 is really going to be a big blip. That one random season that the Reds made the playoffs because everyone else collapsed around them. I mean, they were truly the definition of a mediocre team. They just were a mediocre team that got in, and whatnot. As for the AL, in the AL East, it's tough to really say. It's not going to be the Orioles or the Rays winning the AL East. I can tell you that much. Boston Red Sox, Roman Anthony got hurt down the stretch. It's tough to really say, could they have won a division if not for Roman Anthony? Because even without Roman Anthony on the sidelines in the end, and also, not being the player that in the beginning of the season that we thought we were, the Red Sox still made the playoffs with 89 wins. Obviously, they choked immediately once they got into the playoffs, but they made the playoffs. The Red Sox have a legitimate chance at the division, but on the other hand, the Yankees have pretty much a super team built around them. When you have Aaron Judge, Cody Bellinger, Paul Goldschmidt, Jackson Jr., Ben Rice, all this offensive firepower on your squad, it's honestly hard to not call them a super team. Not to mention you have Max Fried as pitcher and Garrett Cole coming back. With the Juan Soto thing, they maintained a win total of 94 wins. However, the Blue Jays also won 94 games. As for the Blue Jays, obviously they have their own superstars, most notably Vlad Guerrero Jr., who they gave a $500 million contract to, and obviously it paid off in the end. It's really tough to say between the Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Yankees who's going to win a division. I might have to go Yankees, though, because Garrett Cole was injured. So even though Max Fried became an ace, he's not really supposed to be their ace. But if they have two aces, I'm not so sure another team can win the division with that. I mean, obviously the Red Sox have Crochet and all that, but that's only one pitcher. The Yankees are probably going to have two aces, and I think both of them are going to be in the Hall of Fame. As for the AL, and we'll just do AL West and an AL Central to keep the format consistent. As for the AL West, that's really tough to say. It's not going to be the Athletics. Definitely not. I mean, the owner doesn't even commit to spending, and a pitcher that's supposed to be their ace is Luis Severino. They have some good young pieces like Jacob Wilson and Nick Kurtz, as well as Denzel Clark defensively. But the Athletics, I don't think have enough of a team to contend. And the Angels, they just don't spend responsibly. And all they have at this point is Mike Trout after the Ohtani walk. I really can't see the Angels making a run either. It's really the Rangers, Astros, and Mariners, because everyone kind of knew it was going to be between those three. But the Rangers, they just fall flat on their face in September every single year. I don't really see the Rangers having much of a shot either at doing anything, because they really had a shot. They won their first 2 of 3 games in that series against the Mets. On the 14th, the Mets walked them off to try and save their season, and the Rangers fell into a long losing streak of their own after that to pretty much eliminate themselves from the playoff picture. The Astros lost the division by 3 games with 87 wins to the Mariners 90. They missed out on the playoffs altogether, but they had a historic amount of injuries to their pitching staff. The Mariners capitalized, but barely, and is Cal Raleigh really going to have as much of a year as he did? Eugenio Suarez is probably going to walk. Josh Naylor might walk. It's tough to say with the Mariners and what's going to happen, and but I at the same point do think that the Astros era is over. I do think the Mariners win the AL West again, just because I kind of can't see the Astros taking it, but the Astros winning the division wouldn't totally shock me either. Finally, in the AL Central, this is another complicated division. Again, it's simple to tell you who's not going to win it. It's not going to be the Chicago White Sox, and it's not going to be the Minnesota Twins. it's not going to be either one of those teams. The Twins, after the historical collapse in 2024, had a losing record in 2025, while the White Sox, are still, are still a team that their win count, if they're lucky, is going to be in the 60s. They're improving. Don't get me wrong, they're improving, but they're nowhere near ready yet. So it's not going to be those two teams, and I doubt it's going to be the Kansas City Royals either, because the Royals had that one good year in 2024, 86 wins, made it to the ALDS, lost to the Yankees in 4 games. They've been kind of irrelevant ever since. It's going to either be the Tigers or the Guardians. But predicting which one it is between those two is going to be tough. And a lot of this depends on Tariq Skubal. Now, personally, I'm shocked that the Tigers are even considering letting Skubal walk. He is your Cy Young ace pitcher. You have to pay him. It doesn't really even matter how much he asks. You pay your pitchers, and you give up other key pieces to keep Tariq Skubal. The fact that this is even a discussion is just beyond me. As much as people say the Dodgers are ruining baseball, which they are, by the way, what also ruins baseball is when teams like the Tigers have these really good players and they give them up. Now, I don't think Skubal should win the Cy Young this year, but he's definitely in, he's definitely, in that tier of Cy Young candidate, alongside Max Fried, Jacob deGrom, and Garrett Crochet. Tariq Skubal, if Tariq Skubal walked, it's going to easily be the Guardians, because the Tigers would have lost literally the cause of a lot of their wins. Now, as for the Cleveland Guardians, though, they had a 15.5 game comeback to win a division just to lose to the Tigers in the wild card series. The Tigers, though, followed that up by losing the ALDS to the Mariners in 5 games with by getting walked off in the 15th inning of the crucial Game 5. Now, as for the Guardians, they made the ALCS after being a Tigers in the ALDS in 2024. They made the ALCS, wound up losing to the Yankees, and a lot of people projected the Tigers to win the division, but they couldn't, because again, low payroll teams that win division before, you just should not bet against them, because they'll probably be able to do it again with good managing, which the Guardians had. Then again, though, the Tigers just kind of went on cruise control, and it kind of bit them. I think it's going to be the Guardians, though, because I think Skubal is going to walk.